Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. This is an exciting one. It's a new release from Dina Wakley Media, and I am going to be putting up some videos for a few days, just sharing some fun projects that I've made using this new release. I think you're going to like this one. There are some fabulous things in here, as you will know already. So these figures are one of the new stencil and mask sets. You get the stencil and the mask, obviously, called Old School Silhouettes. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I've got to do a cutout page. Now, I didn't like the placement of that lady or person up at the top. It kind of a bit odd. Wanted to move it a bit to the left. I've drawn round the figure in a Stabilo all pencil. So of course, like, what part of my brain actually thought that I would be able to erase that? I have no clue. Anyway, it didn't really matter. I just decided, never mind, I'll just draw over it again and then add some little guides as to where I needed to cut and then cut it out. I've also left a border around the edge as well. So then, of course, I set to while I could remember where I needed to cut out and got on straight away. So if you're interested in making a journal complete with lots and lots of custom cutout pages, there is a brand new class on my website called Alter Cut Create. It's my most popular class at the moment. Lots of people have loved it. It's a 13-week class and you get to create your own custom cutout journal from start to finish. You have a whole finished book by the time the class is done. You can find that on my website, artjournallove.com, and it's under online classes. So I'm just cutting out the parts between the figures. And you can see I've had a bit of a disaster and I've cut that lady on the left. Her elbow is detached from the border. So I'm just going to show you how I fixed that really quickly. So I grabbed some of my framer's tape. So this is like a paper tape with an adhesive on one side and it's a craft colour. What I'm going to do is stick a piece at the back and a piece at the front and then kind of create a new elbow. I don't know how else to describe that. Yeah, just so that it fixes it on. Now, it's not going to be particularly strong. So initially at this point, I wasn't intending to put anything behind this page. However, this is a point where this is a great way of showing that mixed media art, there are always ways that you can fix little problems like this. And you'll see in a minute that what I did was added some transparency behind to just strengthen the page because I made a bit of a boo-boo with my cutting out. So here I'm going in with my ever favourite black gesso and painting over these figures. I knew that I kind of wanted to keep the figures quite monochrome, so I'm going to be making those quite striking in their monochrome colouring. Didn't know where I was going with that then. And I'm going to add some little pops of colour onto here as well. So I'm going to put the black gesso on the front and back of these figures. So once I'd done that, gave it a really, really good dry. Just to make sure that I wasn't going to be printing black gesso anywhere else. And these figures are already starting to look quite cool. So I thought I would add a piece of transparency behind. So initially I thought clear transparency. And then I decided that, because I was thinking I might add some colours to the transparency, but then I decided that actually what would work nicer and be a better contrast would be a piece of Dina's text transparency. So I've grabbed one of the ones with the smaller text on it and I'm going to pop that behind my page, and you'll see here actually it works quite well once I find a piece that hasn't got a chunk cut out of it. Look, I think that works much better. So then I decided that was going to go behind. Now that's going to give the page a bit more strength and just stop it wobbling around where I've made that disaster with my cutting out. So now I'm going to add some tones of grey onto these figures. So I'm lining up the stencil over the figure that I've cut out. And here, first of all, I thought I would just go in with a bit of white just to create a little bit of a difference between the figures, but decided I didn't like how it was going on. It was a bit kind of blobby and I didn't really like that effect. I'll lift the stencil off and have a look. And I was like, no, I don't like that. So then I decided I would make a grey, and I've got my blending tool and I'm just adding that grey over the figure completely. And then I'm going to make another tone of grey. I think I went a bit lighter for the other figures, and anyway, I've not quite got to the edge of it. I'm just going to pull the colour to the edge using my blending tool to do that. Okay, so I'm not worrying about it being perfect, but I do want to make sure that I've covered the majority of the edges of the figure. Okay, so then I'm going to add a bit more white into that and make it a bit lighter. Oh, this is the new stencil called Triangle Fence. I love it, it's so nice. Did a bit of reductive stenciling there. So there you can see I've added a bit more white to the grey just to make a slightly lighter tone, and I'm just popping that through the stencil as well. Again, just pulling that colour to the edges, and then before that's dry I'm going to pop in with the Triangle Fence stencil and do a bit of reductive stenciling just so that I've got that kind of cohesion going on here as well across the figures. Then I thought, okay, I could make the last figure white, or I'm going to leave it black. It's quite a nice contrast. So then using a gel pen, I'm just going to outline those figures. Just helps to make one, define them and stand them out one from each other. Yeah, this was a little bit fiddly, so just take your time. I have sped this bit up, so I wasn't actually drawing that fast. And here you can see I'm drying it in between just so that I don't put my clumsy hand into it and smudge it all over the place. So, as I so often do, finish a day of working in my studio and go in with some sort of printing up my arm of something that I've stuck my arm in while I've been working. I'm going for quite loose scribbly lines here. I'm not worrying about keeping it neat and tidy. That's not really important. I think I'm just looking to create that definition between these three figures. Don't they look cool? Kind of stood like this together. So once I've got these white lines added on, all the way around, kind of a couple of lines in some places, so it's got that loose, sketchy look. Then I'm just using my Posca pen to colour onto a text stamp, and I'm just going to pull a bit of white text across. Now, I found this is a really ace way to use a text stamp. It's super quick. I don't have to get any paint out, water it down. I can just like scribble on the stamp with the Posca pen. Job done. Here I'm using my double-sided tape dispenser. Now, if you didn't want that tape to be showing, I know that might bother some of you, then I would suggest using either a stapler or Dina's ultra thick gel medium. I'm not particularly bothered about the fact that there's tape showing at the back, it doesn't matter. And then once I've stuck that down, you can see that I just held the page up vertical. So I have had some times where I've stuck things down and then tried to fold the page over and it's just not worked at all. So you need to be a little bit mindful of that, how you stick the pages together. Just make sure that they will lay flat as you turn them to the right and to the left. And then I decided I would pop some hearts onto the figures as well. So I've always got a little bit of card knocking about that's got some pink on it or a colour that I want to use for hearts. So I'm just cutting some out to pop onto my figures. And here I'm just going to keep the ones with the negative space in because I kind of quite like those, a bit different. And then I think one of them gets a heart shape rather than a box with a negative. But can't remember now. Oh no, I think they all get. Okay, so this is the new stamp set, and just having a look. This stamp set is called Foam Doodles, and I love the leaf pattern that's on there. This one that I've popped on the acrylic block. I think I'm going to be using that quite a lot. Here I'm going to stamp it onto some typed ledger paper that I've painted some bright colours onto. So here I'm just popping on some rainbow colours, the usual combination, ruby tangerine, lemon lime, sky, not turquoise, iris and magenta. And then you can see once that's dry, I'm going in with archival ink and just stamping some leaves onto there, which I'm then going to cut out and stick onto my page. So these are going to be my little pop of colour. I think just kind of finding a way to bring a bit of colour to these pages. When you're doing something monochrome, it's quite nice to have a little pop of colour. And obviously I've got a bit of colour on those hearts, but also just to kind of have a little bit of colour around the edges, but not all the way, is quite nice. So you can see I'm kind of sticking them around the edge just to draw the eye from the edge into the centre. Yeah, and just sticking those little leaves on. So I've kind of cut them off their branches for this little project. And then I'm going to stick a quote on from the typed ledgers. I think deciding there that I was going to put it up in maybe the right hand corner. Yeah. I think if you're not sure where to put your quote on a page like this, the best thing to do is to just try it in different places and see what works best for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this first video sharing some of Dina's new release. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.